Wow, look how beautiful it is here this time of year. It's all misty and mysterious and, well, many years ago, apparently the pirates used to come across the water here. They'd be smuggling tobacco, gin, anything really that they could sell. And of course, if they were caught, they'd be, well, some of them were hung or they spend a very long time in prison. Of course, it's a different story these days. In fact, there's a pub up there called the Smuggler's Inn or the Smuggler's Rest. So very historical and a nice part of the world. I really love it here. Right, today's subject. First of all, Rupert Lowe. Who gives a monkeys? Who cares? He said this, she said that, they said the other. Look, if you was to ask the next 10,000 reform voters walking down the street if they care, if that really matters, if any of it really matters, the answer would be no. We got about a million things to worry about before we worry about if Rupert Lowe, and it's a big if he maybe upset one of his employees by telling them they hadn't been working hard enough or having the cheek to ask them if they checked their... I mean, who cares? Who knows and who cares? We've got thousands of illegals coming across the water every week almost, or every month. Where does that register on our scale of concern? It doesn't even register, does it? It's ridiculous. What it proves is that Reform are not the party that we want them to be. Now, there's a by-election coming up in Runcorn. And Reform are obviously looking to try and win that by-election. The biggest advice I can give anyone is you've got to teach Reform a lesson. Even if you intend to vote Reform in the Runcorn area, don't vote for them. Show Nigel Farage that bringing in failed Tories that have been kicked out of their party and who've been attending refugees or welcome here events, show Reform, show Nigel Farage that that is not what Reform means, not to us, not to the people. Now, if you are someone that genuinely wants Reform and you genuinely care about this country, the biggest favour that you can do it is by refusing to vote for Reform in Runcorn. That's my humble opinion. It's not a big deal, win or lose. It's not going to make any difference to us. It's not going to make any difference to what's happening to us in our country. It really doesn't matter. But if Reform win that by-election in Runcorn, the message that it sends out to Nigel Farage is that he can get away with what he's doing, taking Reform from the centre-right to the centre-left. Is that what we want? Is that what we need in this country? Another centre-left party? You may as well vote Lib Dem. Now, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I'm just telling you who I think you shouldn't vote for. That, of course, is your decision. But why empower Nigel Farage and his cronies, Zia Youssef, Richard Tice? Why empower them by giving them your vote in Runcorn? The best message that we can send out to them is to not vote for them. That's the best thing that we can do. And it's called being cruel to be kind. It's going to teach them a lesson. Please do not vote for them in this forthcoming Runcorn by-election. Just don't bother to vote at all. It's not going to matter, is it? It's not going to change our lives. But as far as Rupert Lowe's concerned, who cares what he said or what he didn't say? The police are involved. Really? There's rampant knife crimes, all sorts of assaults, shoplifting going unattended, and they're worried about what Rupert Lowe may or may not have said. Honestly, give us a break. No wonder we're in a mess. What we want and what we need is for everyone to stop dilly-dallying and fannying around and get their act together and get a political party on the move that we can actually get behind. We've got 4 years left, but in a minute it'll be 3 years, then in a minute it'll be 2 years. And then all of a sudden it'll be too late. We need to act now. The people that are going to act need to act as quickly as they can because we've got one hell of a massive fight on our hands. And talking about fights, I want to talk to you briefly about subjects that I'm very hesitant to even talk about. And that's the likelihood or the possibility of civil unrest in this country. And it really, really concerns me. And when I watch the mainstream media, sometimes you almost could be led to believe that they're gaslighting us all, not just the British indigenous community, but All of us. They seem to be goading us and they seem to be gaslighting us into a fight that I'm sure none of us want. We seem to be being treated so unfairly and so unequally. I'm talking about the British indigenous population now. We seem to be being treated so badly that they seem to be trying to wind us up. And I don't understand what their aim is, what their goal is, and what the point is. And I just wish that the good members of our Muslim community in particular would step forward and say, we're not having this. We're going to protect our British indigenous brothers and sisters. We're going to stand up for them. We're going to say, no, this is wrong. This is wrong. Unfortunately, I don't see a lot of evidence of that happening. And for me, that's a problem, because if it was the other way around, many of us, and myself included, will be standing up for anyone that wasn't being treated fairly or correctly. We would stand up for them and step forward and say, no, that's not the way we behave in this country. We treat everyone equally. But look at the way Keir Starmer's been behaving around it all again this week. It's just mind-boggling. And you just have to wonder where they're trying to take us. What is their end game? What is their end goal here? Because it beats the hell out of me. Anyone that looks at this from an outside perspective, and certainly J.D. Vance is doing that, and I was listening to a Muslim scholar on GB News just the other day who had it absolutely dead right. We are allowing in the people that those in the UAE wouldn't have anywhere near their country.
I think you have more extremists in UK than you have in the Middle East.
Really?
At this stage, absolutely. The things that some of the Islamists say in various mosques, and we have been seeing that online, the terminology they use, the analysis they make, the statements they actually make, they would not be able to say it all the way in Afghanistan, for example, or in Iraq.
So how has this been allowed to flourish in the UK? What's your analysis of that?
In the name of democracy. So the Muslim Brotherhood, who are the Islamists, who are the main ones, are ruling and controlling in various press when it comes to the Muslim society and community in the UK. They control the whole narrative, and the Muslim Brotherhood and the Islamists are the radical Islamists. They're the Islamists, and they use the freedom of speech in a manner where they will be anti-Semite in the name of freedom of speech. I absolutely stand against that, because I think anti-Semitism is not an opinion, it's a crime, and a crime against humanity. And once you allow that, on the 7th of October, for example, when it happened, the genocide against the Israelis, what I saw and what we witnessed is the fact that some Islamists all the way from here in Small Heath, in Al-Amrak, in Birmingham, and other areas, we saw their voices. It was pro-Hamas. Yes. And Hamas, as a force which carried that genocide in Gaza and also in Israel, it's actually the armed forces of the Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood in my country, for example, UAE, where Muslim, where Arab, is banned, but however is not banned in the United Kingdom. So
it should be banned?
Absolutely, because they use the freedom of speech to censor your right to speak against them.
So there's Muslim countries that won't have certain individuals going anywhere near their countries, but we're allowing them into ours. And then we're called Islamophobic for worrying about it. No, it's common sense. It's not about being Islamophobic. You don't invite bad people into your home. And if the UAE thinks these people are bad, what makes us think they're going to be good for us? So I'm really genuinely concerned about the possibility of civil unrest in the future. You know, it really does concern me a lot, because I feel that it doesn't matter how many times people like myself and other YouTubers who we will class ourselves strictly as moderates. We don't want problems, we don't want unrest, we don't want hatred, we don't want bitterness between communities. But trust me when I tell you, there are people out there that will feed off of that and would enjoy it. And I just feel sometimes that we're only a dodgy incident away from it all kicking off. And that's a massive concern, We'll see. I mean, as always, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you agree with me about Rupert Lowe? Does it really matter? Does it really matter what happened? It's not the end of the world, is it? It's not a big deal. To a lesser extent, it's a bit like Tommy, isn't it? I mean, all this fuss over Tommy being put in jail and solitary, for what? For what? All the vicious crimes that are taking place out there right now, all the things that are wrong in this country, all the stabbings, all the knife crime, and that, you know, there's Tommy rotting away in jail, and then there's Rupert under investigation for hurty words. Just about sums it up, doesn't it, really? Right, as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.